Hi, and thank you so much for joining me for this process video. Today I'm working on the final challenge set for the Hey Look a Magpie Chat and Inspiration Cyber Crop last Saturday, and this challenge was set by Giselle and it was a colour challenge. She posted a beautiful autumnal page and asked us to take inspiration from some or all of the colours on that page. I'm always drawn to greens and blues, and I was very tempted to go with those to play it safe. But I saw that there was this gorgeous mustard and orange, so I thought I would challenge myself to use those colours this time. So I've dived into my 49er Market Spectrum Sherbet stash, and I'm scrapping a picture of my mum and dad on the beach on our holiday on Herm Island a couple of years ago. So I pulled out all of the yellow and orange pieces that I could find in the ephemera chipboard laser cut pieces that I had. And I'm just having a play now. I want to have the photo on the left hand side of the page with an embellishment cluster, and then a smaller cluster on the right hand side of the page. I've also pulled some of James's new 3D print designs. This is for the latest limited edition kit that he's created. The title is A Day at the Beach, and then there are some starfish and some shells that I've pulled as well. So I'm just playing about here, building up my mats and clusters, and it's coming together nicely. That's one of our new flare badges from the beach collection, and I'm just looking at this and realising that there's a bit too much orange, so I'll switch that out in a minute. First of all, going with that piece of remnant that I cut off from the left hand side to start building the right hand side cluster. And these are the orange and yellow paper. I hadn't realised that the two pieces were actually the same, just yellow on one side and orange on the other, so I'll just stick with this piece. Carefully cut off the bottom bit, which has the butterfly and flowers on, for another layout, and then layer those up together. Still adding. As I add one thing to the right, I'm looking at the left and seeing something else. There I am, switching out that orange, and I'm much happier with that. And I've chosen Best Buds because they really are mum and dad. They've been together over 50 years now, and they've got each other, and that makes them happy. So now I'm pulling out these starfish from James's collection and the shell. And I know I'm going to ink the background. Well, I'm going to watercolour with Distress Oxides. I've got Antique Linen and Crushed Marigold. I think that's what it's called, Crushed Marigold. So still playing, looking at all the different possibilities. And I like this frame, but I don't want to waste it, so I chop it in half so that I can save the other half for another day. And those arrow pieces at the bottom are Bramble Fox that I bought at Therese and Dottie About Flare crop. The more I've bought the shop up, so I have to treat myself to a few bits. Very nice they are too. So just going to map the photo onto some foam, just so that it raises the top of the other pieces. And then I'm going to use a pencil to mark where everything is, just so that I know approximately where to put my Distress Oxides when they go down for my mixed media background. This is also a great guide to see what went where when I try and rebuild this, because by the time I've done the Distress Oxides, left them to dry, Done the second layer. Yeah, there it is, dried marigold. I thought it was dried marigold. I'm just coming in with my packaging to squidge my ink onto. I start with the dried marigold. Just wet it. And then use a paintbrush. And I'm putting some water onto my card as well, just to really water it down. To give that pooling effect. And just roughly going around the edges of where the mats will go. Leaving richer areas and more watered down areas just for added interest. And then I'll leave this layer to dry and then come in with the antique linen. So now that's more or less dry. I'll come in with the antique linen and just add a little bit of that. Just for depth of colour really. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it's just enough. Brings in a bit more of the yellow because that marigold can go quite peach if you're not careful. So almost pink. Adding and layering. And then once I've added a layer, I decide that I want to do a little bit of splattering, but controlled splattering, so just around the very edges of where this is, so using my hand as a shield to make sure it doesn't go too far. Checking that I'm happy with the positioning, and then again leaving it to dry. So it's more or less dry. The left hand side was a bit too wet, so it's still quite pooly, so I've just dabbed a little bit up with some kitchen towel. So I'll focus on the right hand side first of all and stick these pieces down because that's all dry. And you can see how the oxides bloom, the different colours come out of the ink when you wet it. So just checking that I can remember exactly where things went, and of course I can't. And even when I lay it down, by the time I picked it up off the page, it goes down slightly differently, but the end result looks great. So see, classic example, that was over the ticket first time and then it went back under the ticket. I think my mind's just going 10 to the dozen all the time while I'm doing this, looking at what else I need to do, thinking about what else I'd like to do on the layout, and not focusing on doing what I'm actually doing. So just trying to ease it all in, make sure it's all straight. And rather than grabbing my sewing machine, I decided to use this tape again from 49 and mark it as the sewing stitch washi tape, I think it's called. It's a big box and it's absolutely fantastic. I love this. And then I don't like the blank tag, so I think that's a brilliant place to just put the place that we were. We're at Belvoir Beach in Herm. Just sticking that down because I've got a tab above the left-hand photo, which I'll put the date on. And then just using some cotton thread to put through the tag. Everything straight and then gluing that back on again. And this thread will eventually be stuck over the top and onto the back of the layout. But I'm just leaving it while that ink's still a little bit wet on the left hand side. So sticking down all the mats and then adding the embellishments back where they were. And here I'm just going to add a bit of foam tape to the back of that flare badge. That Best Buds circle is actually chipboard, so it's quite raised up above. So sticking the foam just in between that and the bottom banner really works to keep this nice and flat. I do love that flare badge, it's one that we designed for Hey Little Magpie store. And as I say, those two little bramble fox pieces. And some more of the Spectrum sherbet bits. And I haven't realised yet that I haven't done the date tag. I think I realised that a bit later on. So just gluing everything down. This Nuvo Deluxe adhesive is great for Bramble Fox and JD 3D print items. It really gets a solid stick. Sometimes you just have to hold things down for a few seconds to get the bond. And then just checking that this is straight using my T-ruler. I've gone in on the top because it's a very straight line along the top. The bottom scripty words are a little bit up and down. And here we go, sticking down this thread. Like I said, just taking it over the top to finish it off. And just when I think I'm finished, I realise, there we go, I've not done the date. Just coming in with my trusty roller date stamp. And then I remember I pulled out some other bits. These Bow Bunny stickers are absolutely amazing. The colours work so well with all the new collections. So just adding a few puffy bits for added detail. And coming in with some more of these chevrons. I think under the picture at first, but then decided to echo the Bramble Fox chevrons there. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed the process of me creating this layout, and I hope to see you again. Bye.